And welcome back, everyone, to How Not to Souls. Jron here, and today we're looking at a Bloodtinge build from Bloodborne. Sorry, it's a lot of these. A very unique damage type build focused on bleed damage, or not bleed damage, blood damage. And it's very good for PvE and PvP. It's not necessarily my favorite build, but I do feel it's a build worthwhile playing. I think it's fun, and it can be fun for those who have never touched or are afraid to do a Bloodtinge or don't know what Bloodtinge is. I feel that depending on the weapon you have with the build that I designed, there are certain instances where going up against groups of enemies, because sometimes you'll just come up against a pack of like 12, 13 dudes, I say pulling them apart individually is more beneficial. But maybe you can handle it. I couldn't. Maybe the Chikage will work well with you in that kind of instance. But anyway, let's take a look at our stats. We'll go into our weapons, talk about damage types that are going on with each weapon, and yes. All right. We're also going to leave a 120, level 120 set up right next to the 136. So if you want to keep it at meta, you'll have that there to see what I'm working with. But at 136, we have 42 vitality for an above average pool of health. 30 endurance for an average amount of endurance. I mean, you don't need much more. I mean, 40 is fine, but I think 40 is the hard cap for just your stamina. And then just endurance goes straight into your physical defense. 10 strength for weapon requirements. 45 skills to get decent damage off of when our weapons aren't transformed. So yeah, because we're working with all skill weapons. Again, there's another side. There's the strength side to it, but we'll get into that after that. And then 50 Bloodtinge, so we can get the most out of our Chikage and our transformations from. We also had Seven's Bowblade. Then for new game, I think that's perfect for new game. 50 for new game. Going beyond to new game plus, do as you wish. And then a 9 arcane, just because there was no reason we weren't really doing anything with arcane. Now let's go with our main weapon, and then we'll go to our church, or then we'll go to our bowblade. Sorry, I looked at the church pick. It's one of my favorite weapons, but it's kind of sidetracked. So our main was Chikage. If you look at our physical damage versus our blood attack damage, our physical damage was with our straight up untransformed Chikage. It does okay damage. It was a 389, not bad. But when transformed, it does 6. Looks like 602. I could be wrong. It's in the 600s. It's a buckload of damage. Also, with the rapid poison, when the transform Chikage puts on enemies, that is doubled up. This was our bread and butter throughout the playthrough. It's really, really good. Only downside is, in the transformed state, for the Chikage, you lose health. It's a gradual loss, but when you don't have a lot of health sometimes, and you have transformers, you kind of have to pick your battles with it. But overall, the best, in my opinion, the best weapon for a Bloodtinge build, hands down. Well, we're not going to get into the Bloodletter side of things, but the Bloodletter is also a very fine weapon. For what we did here, with the skill, with the Bloodtinge, the Lost Chikage is the best. Also, it's kind of the most selfish situation in Bloodborne, because it demands you really have to focus your stats on this weapon. Now our second weapon, which is also a really, really, really great choice, is Simon's Bowblade. I thought when I came across mobs when I couldn't use my Chikage, the Bowblade, with the way its attacks work, it has like sweeping swipes. This was my mob controller. And in the transform state, it shoots arrows that do knockback, and it's really awesome. I think if you're gonna do a Bloodtinge build on the skill level, these two are really, really, really good. Oh wow! I just noticed you can put arcane on Bowblade. But anyway, as the combo as these two, it's really, really awesome together. And then Saw Spear, I was seeing if I can get it going. I wasn't getting it. Once I got my Lost Chikage, because I got the Chikage early through a Chalice Glyph, which I will leave in the description, or I'll put it up in the video. I haven't decided yet. Sorry if I don't. But yeah, you get it early because otherwise you get it at Canehurst, and that could be a mid to late game. And the reason why I don't do like a strength Bloodtinge build because the Bloodletter is the only thing you really get, and that's you get that at the Fishing Hamlet when normally you get to the Fishing Hamlet late game. So it's kind of like, in my opinion, that's a rough build to do, gain your primary weapons. But anyway, those are our weapons for our guns. I chose the Evelyn. It's the one of the higher scaling pistols in the game. Really good, does great damage. The one downside about the Evelyn, if you don't hit your parry spot on, you will miss it. It's more of like a mid-range gun. If they're so many feet away, you'll hit them better. But if they come up on you, like I say, the Bloodstar piece is a good example of this. If you don't hit him at the right point when he's up close for that parry, you're gonna get knocked down. That's like the best example I can give. Otherwise, like it just say someone like some random ad comes up to you, swings their cleaver, and you don't get the timing right. It's just the bolt's gonna go whiz by there, but you won't really get to see it. It won't be as prevalent as you see with the Bloodstar. And then Hunter pistol until I got the Evelyn. I didn't upgrade it. I don't know. I was getting the Evelyn. I was excited. But yeah, those are those. For our armor set, I chose the Knight set, but I took Maria's Hunter cap because I thought it looked nice. I know the Knight's wig looked fine and everything, but we needed to. I just didn't. I wasn't about. That's about it. I don't know. I think it's the white ponytail. I wasn't about. But I just wasn't about it. But the Knight set, that's the life we live, you know? Fancy schmancy. We are a blood hunter. Supposedly not from Kane. Oh, we're fancy. We live a fancy life. But we also used the Yahara Ghoul Black Garb when we needed something that was a little more sturdier in the defense. And we also used the Ashen Hunter Garb because it has good frenzy scaling when we're coming against winter veterans and things like that. Our consumables, we actually used. So this one is weird because you can't use fire paper or bolt paper on the Chikage or the Bowblade. I think because their transformations won't allow it. But I did use plenty of beast pellets, plenty of Molotovs, some pungent blood cocktail. I'll recommend these for any build. Pungent blood cocktails, poison knives, pretty wild. I like those. I actually like these tiny build too. And bone marrow mash, bone marrow ash, not bone marrow mash. And yeah, hand lantern, all the other fun things. Yeah, didn't use any hunter tools really. Pretty straightforward. And now let's take a look at our lovely runes. Alright, for our runes, I chose the anti-clockwise Metamorphosis rune for extra stamina. I think so, like, when I take on average stamina, I start complaining immediately. It starts off in my head, like, we don't have enough. And then it starts coming out, and then I just like, alright, here, let's put this stamina rune on. But I think it's a good one. It's always good to have this on. Just so you don't need to put the extra points in the stamina as well. So we got a 15% extra stamina boost. We were using bullets like crazy. The Odeon wipe gained extra 2 plus bullets on our missile attacks. Great Lake. All damage reduction plus 4%. And I think this one's more or less circumstantial. If you're fighting against a weapon with high frenzy, as I can cause frenzy or poison. All that jam, I say adapt accordingly. That's what this last one I had. And I had the Impurity rune. I usually go for the other runes, but I just wasn't feeling it this time. And I really didn't do a deep dive into the chalices either, as you'll be able to see with our blood gems. So, I didn't go crazy in the chalices, so my blood gems I did go kind of deep, but not like as deep as I could have. You might be able to notice that through the gems we have, but for our Chikage, we had a temporary and damp blood gem, 80% attack. Another temporary, 5, sorry, a temporary and damp blood gem 5. Then we had temporary another, well, you know what it says. Another temporary damp blood gem for 5 for 18. And then our blood attack was a 21.6. And you can get better ones in the chalices. It's just depends how long you want to spend down in the chalices. And then the bow blade, nourishing damp. And then obviously our main got the more or less better gems, exception for one. But I needed something for my triangle. So, but anyway. Yeah, nourishing damp for 15. And that gave us a boost on everything, right? Not everything, but all physical things. Cursed damp blood gem. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Cursed damp blood gem, 90%. And an increased stamina cost at 2.6. And I find that to be the least innocuous. Well, then, least innocuous cursed blood gems. I like if you get one that's like health, it takes away your health or your durability of weapons, that sucks. And then another temporary damp blood gem at 15.8%. And if you want to see what Saw Spears, which I didn't use until I used it up until I got my Chikage. That's what we have for that. Yeah. I don't know, that was the highest one I had for that. That was a 9.1% physical, 10.9 on blunt, which doesn't really make sense for this weapon at all. I just noticed that. Physical attack, 14.2. And then another physical, 13.7. With a kin boost of 4.5. But we didn't use that. Yeah, unfortunately, this guy turned out to be a throwaway weapon, which I do enjoy the Saw Spear quite a bit. It's really great in arcane builds, or really great as a starter for like more of a skill influence build. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, but overall, very good build. I think it's a little demanding. Not my favorite, but I think it's a build that's worth going to try. Because it might be your favorite. I find this fashion spot on. And, yeah, all round, Maria Nunez. Driven accountant by day, blood infused hunter by night. Hope you enjoy the footage, and have a great day. Peace.